Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, one vision.
Our sources explain it all. For more information on upcoming shows or to suggest shows, email brianhayward2026@gmail.com. And now let's get into our show. Hayward Podworks is vision, deep dives into any topic.
The sources we looked at this week, they all really grappled with this one universal challenge.
Mm-hmm.
How do you maintain your cognitive function in a world that is just, it's designed for constant distraction?
It really is. The whole world is kind of built to make money off of your divided attention.
Whether it's the 24/7 news cycle or just that relentless stream of information pouring through our screens, getting that deep focus, it's become one of the most valuable and honestly one of the hardest skills to master now.
That's so true. Our ability to think deeply, to execute on these complex projects, it decreases in proportion to the amount of noise we let into our lives. But what our sources were all really emphatic about is that mastering focus is possible. It's a skill, not, some innate talent.
So our mission for this deep dive is to give you the strategies, the shortcuts, and the mental frameworks from all that material to help you reclaim that focus. We're going to make your time work for you.
And we'll start by shining a light on those specific time killers, the distractions that are actively sabotaging your goals. Then we'll dive into optimization strategies for your mind and body.
And finally, we're going to leave you with a concrete 4-week plan to implement all these changes right away.
So let's just jump in.
Yeah, let's start by defining what focus even is, according to the experts.
What's fascinating here is the foundational principle, and it's summed up so well by James Clear. He says, focus can only occur when we have said yes to one option and no to all other options.
Wow.
Anything outside of that one single chosen option is effectively just noise.
That's a really challenging standard. It forces you to acknowledge just how often we break that commitment.
Oh, constantly.
Yeah. And a great activity the sources suggested is for you to actually try tracking this. Keep a written note or even just a mental tally of every single time you stop working on your main task to do something else.
Just for a few hours.
Exactly. Just doing that for half a day is incredibly confronting.
And that tally is going to lead us, inevitably, straight to the number one source of that external noise.
The mobile device.
Of course.
Our phones have become, like a literal extension of our nervous system. We take them everywhere. And the constant barrage of notifications, it causes a measurable, steep penalty on our attention span.
And what's really revealing is that our devices, like the iPhone, they actually track how many times you pick up your phone in a day.
And for a lot of us, that number is genuinely alarming. It's a scary number.
Awareness is powerful, but, sometimes we actively choose the distraction. We embrace the multitasking myth.
I hear people treat that, juggling 5 things at once like it's a badge of honor.
It is.
But wait, surely working on 2 things at once is better than 1? How is trying to be efficient a focus killer?
Because your brain wastes time switching contexts. Every single time you move from drafting an email to reviewing a spreadsheet and then back again, you pay a cognitive switching cost.
So it's not real efficiency?
Not at all. The goal is efficiency, not just activity. You'll achieve so much more when you focus on the completion of one valuable task before moving to the next.
That idea flows perfectly into the social media traps. The sources call it falling into a neurological rabbit hole.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah. We know an hour can just vanish on Instagram or YouTube, and this happens because our brains are being chemically rewarded. You get that little dopamine hit from likes and comments, and it keeps you perpetually engaged.
And this internal motivation for external validation, that dopamine loop, that's why setting boundaries is so difficult.
So what's the practical advice here?
The most practical boundary suggested is to schedule your social media time. maybe only in the evening or outside of your core working hours. Use those time limit features on the apps.
And the big one.
And, crucially, turn off all non-essential notifications.
Okay, shifting away from the screen for a minute, another huge distraction is calendar overload. People feel this immense pressure to fill every single slot, right? Believing that a busy calendar equals importance.
There is absolutely no reward for a packed schedule. In fact, a packed calendar forces you into a reactive state, not a proactive one.
So what should be on there?
To maintain focus, the sources recommend only essential, fixed events. Client review meetings, doctor appointments. The rest of your time should be protected for deep work toward your goals.
Which brings us to what, for many people, is the hardest part.
Learning how to say no.
Exactly. Approval addiction is a real thing, and it leads to chronic overscheduling. If you don't set boundaries around your time and your energy, other people simply won't.
And the best action is just honesty, paired with a boundary. Say something like, I'm engaged in an important project right now, and I'll get back to you when I've completed this phase.
You can even steer people towards alternatives, right? Like a detailed email update instead of a full meeting.
Exactly. You are actively defending your focus time.
So once we've managed the external noise and we've set up those protective boundaries, the sources all insist we have to look inward.
Yeah.
Because focus isn't just about what you stop doing. It's about physically preparing your mind and your body to sustain concentration.
That's it. Focus is fundamentally physical. If your baseline cognitive function is low, you just can't give a task your full potential. So optimizing your self-care is probably the fastest way to get a performance edge.
And that starts with the undisputed necessity, rest.
Sleep.
We need 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep. The brain uses this time to clear out metabolic waste, to reset cognitive functions. There is no productivity hack that can overcome chronic sleep deprivation.
None. And then there's nutrition and hydration, which we need to talk about not as general health tips, but as like optimization targets.
Right. So eat well-balanced meals and specifically incorporate superfoods, green leafy vegetables to provide that steady fuel.
And hydration is just non-negotiable.
This is where the source data gets really specific. We found a study from Georgia Tech that quantifiably stated that dehydration causes a measurable loss of concentration and focus.
Wow, a measurable loss.
Right. Yeah. And the basic goal is still what we've always heard. 8-ounce glasses of water daily. Think of it as the simplest, cheapest performance boost you can get.
And you couple that fuel with movement. Moderate exercise is key. It increases alertness and energy. It primes you for focus.
And you don't need to join a gym. 30 minutes a day, 5 times a week, can be as simple as taking the stairs or just a quick walk.
And for mental clarity, the sources all stress the benefit of the outdoors. Spending time in nature, it balances the mind and body.
You could also try mindfulness practices like meditation. I mean, there are apps like Headspace and Calm that can help you build that muscle in 10 minutes or less a day.
And while you're caring for your internal state, you have to optimize your external environment. The sources highlight this profound link between decluttering your physical space and decluttering your mind.
So clear your workstation of all unrelated materials. Reducing visual clutter really does reduce mental clutter.
It's so true.
And here's a surprising detail from the sources related to that physical space. Making sure your office temperature is pleasant, so not too hot, not too cold, can increase productivity by up to 15%.
15% just from adjusting the thermostat.
It's a huge, measurable gain.
And speaking of body and mind, we have to recognize that the mind is a muscle. It gets tired.
Yeah.
Working without breaks just leads to a definite decrease in performance. A planned 10-minute break can provide enough clarity to reset and rejuvenate.
You should use those small breaks strategically. That brings us to Steve Alinsky's 2-minute rule.
I love this rule.
It's so simple. If a task can be done in 2 minutes or less, like replying to a quick email or filing a document, just do it immediately.
Because going back to it later will invariably take more time, more of that switching cost we talked about.
And finally, what about music?
Music. It can keep the brain engaged, but for maximum focus during that deep work time, the sources recommend sticking to instrumental tracks, so classical music or soundscapes with no lyrics.
Right, so your brain isn't dedicating processing power to following the words.
Exactly.
That transitions us perfectly into the realm of maximizing focus through strategic planning. All the self-care in the world won't prevent burnout if you lack a strategic direction.
Strategic planning starts with minimizing decision fatigue. So don't make your daily to-do list a massive inventory of everything you could possibly do.
Oh.
Instead, compact it. Bring it down to the top 3 to 5 most important, urgent things that must be accomplished.
And here's the power move that the sources suggested. Create that compact list for the next day right before you leave work.
So when you arrive the next morning,
you have zero decision-making required. You are instantly ready to attack the most important task.
This preloading of your attention is the perfect foundation for Cal Newport's concept of deep work.
This is where the real leaps in productivity happen. Deep work is defined as the ability to focus without distraction on a cognitively demanding task.
So if you have a task that requires serious mental horsepower, writing a report, solving a complex problem, you have to reserve specific blocks of time for it on your calendar.
And the implementation is strict.
Very strict. During deep work, you shut down your email applications, you silence all notifications, and ideally, you put your phone in a drawer or a safe, far away from your reach.
And you set specific predetermined intervals outside of that deep work period to check your email and handle all those necessary admin tasks.
You also need to identify your peak work period. This is the time of day when you are naturally most focused. For some people, it's first thing in the morning. For others, maybe it's late afternoon.
And you create a routine around that peak time for your most important heavy lift tasks.
Right. You leave the lighter, less cognitively demanding activities for your less optimal times. You stop wasting your best mental energy on low-value tasks.
Another crucial maximizer is to focus on the result, not just the task. You have to commit to finishing. Focusing only on performing an action might mean you do it inefficiently or you have to circle back later. Focusing on the end goal ensures your actions are meaningful and directed.
And a great way to do that is to track your time. Our estimations of how long things take are often wildly inaccurate.
So true. And that's why deadlines, even though they can be stressful, they set healthy boundaries and they increase your focus.
And when you're tackling a really large goal, like writing a book, the sources recommend breaking it down into smaller, short-term deadlines.
For instance, you could set a small goal to write the introduction paragraph this weekend. Then next weekend, you commit to 10 pages for chapter 1.
And that short-term completion, that provides the necessary rewarding feedback loop to keep you going.
Okay, finally, let's briefly detail the tools that can enable this strategic focus.
Right. We mentioned that social media is a time killer, but a tool like Hootsuite can consolidate all your posting time by letting you schedule content in advance.
And for capturing those fleeting thoughts that can derail your current project, there's Evernote.
Yeah, that lets you capture ideas with cloud-based notes or even a voice memo, so you preserve the thought without derailing your current work.
You also need solid infrastructure. Cloud storage like Dropbox, OneDrive, or iCloud keeps essential documents accessible but not cluttering up your immediate desktop.
And for organizing complex projects, Asana is great. It provides project management structure for individuals or for entire teams.
And the ultimate focus tracking tool, Rescue Time.
That's the one. This app tracks the time you spend on different applications, giving you objective data on where you actually waste time.
And the paid version can even block those distracting websites while you're in a scheduled deep work period.
So that's a really comprehensive approach, but as we said, strategy without execution is, well, it's just information.
Right.
And research suggests it takes about 4 weeks to forge a new habit, so we structured this transformation into 4 achievable weekly steps.
Okay, week 1. This is all about observation and setup. You start by gathering data. Use Rescue Time or just a notepad to track exactly how you're currently spending your time.
Check your phone's screen time usage stats, too.
Yes, to quantify the most egregious app usage. Use that knowledge to clean up your workspace and organize your files. And finally, stabilize your biological clock by setting a consistent wake-up time.
Then week 2 is for goal setting and accountability. You review the usage data you collected in week 1. You write down your daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly goals, adding specific dates and putting them on a calendar.
And then you set one specific, measurable goal that you want to accomplish over the next 3 weeks.
And you find an accountability partner to share it with. The sources are so clear on this. External accountability is a massive motivator, and it prevents you from backsliding.
Week 3 is implementation and self-care focus. This week, you focus on minimizing that decision fatigue. At the end of each workday, you make a compact list of the top 3 to 5 goals for the next day. Use a planner or an app like Asana.
And critically, you plan your meals, and you schedule time for exercise. You are defending your focus time with self-care.
And finally, week 4. This is review and reward.
The fun part.
The best part. You start by reviewing your calendar. Are there non-essential items you can eliminate permanently? Then it's time to celebrate. Reward yourself for completing that specific goal you set back in week 2.
And then you review your rescue time and your phone usage stats again to quantify exactly how much time you've saved and redirected toward meaningful work.
So you now have the full picture. Identify the noise, optimize your physical and mental baseline, establish protective boundaries, and practice strategic deep work. You're one step closer to becoming a master of your own attention.
And just remember what the sources emphasize. Productivity is a journey, and it's rooted in the process. Success is less about the eventual outcome, the promotion, the finished book, and more about the commitment you make every single day.
And here's a final provocative thought for you to consider. If, as our sources suggest, you must love not just the outcomes, but the process in creating the outcomes, what small essential part of that daily process, that single 2-minute task, that disciplined half hour of deep work, are you going to commit to loving and mastering starting today?
Because that dedication to the daily commitment, that is the true signal of success.
Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, 1 vision.
All right, this is Hayward Podworks, and that's today's episode. If this helped you, do me a favor, hit follow, leave a quick rating, and share it with one person who'd get value. Want the extras, links, and new drops? Check the show notes. Until next time, stay sharp, stay consistent, and keep building. Hayward Podworks. We'll talk soon.